Right, so welcome to part 2 of this brief tutorial. If you remember from the previous video, we actually set up this email account from scratch, so you saw that. So I'm just going to, if I can, get up here. I'm using my mouse pad, scratch pad on my laptop, but which makes it harder sometimes to navigate, but nevertheless it's working. But anyway, you can see here the email address, awatraining2019@gmail.com is what is in use, so that's our email address. So a quick look at what we've got here then. So you can see we've got 3 tabs. We've got the primary, which is where most of the bulk of your email are going to go, right in there, the primary tab. Then over here, social tab. Social tab is if you use that email address to open up a Facebook account, a social Twitter account, LinkedIn account, Instagram. The list is becoming endless. But any social media accounts you open up using this email address, you'll get your notifications under that tab there. Promotions, well, that's where basically you might get any newsletters from, I don't know, companies selling business cards or what have you. They're filtered out by Google in terms of usefulness. So social media, generally speaking, you might just dump the lot, or at least if there's a notification of a message, then you might go and check that out. Promotions, again, you might take a look if there's anything there that you're interested in. Otherwise, I just tend to dump the whole lot when it gets to be too much, because you only get a finite amount of disk space with this. I think it's 15 gig at the moment for Google. So that's the sort of what you're looking at from here. And if we come across, there's the inbox, and that's where we are at the moment. And then down here you've got draft, and draft is where if you start an email, we'll come to that shortly, and don't finish it, then it's not sent, it's kept in that folder. But what I would like to show you while I'm here is the spam folder. So if you come down to here, let me just quickly show that again. So next to more, there's a small drop down arrow, and the mouse cursor turns to a little hand like so. We'll click on that, and then there is the spam. And then click into, obviously it's a new account, I wouldn't expect much in there, but always check that account every so often, because you might have an important email that Google have mistaken for spam and put into the spam account, in which case you can easily move it into the main inbox there. So coming back to that, let's see how we compose an email then. So click on compose, and obviously here you can then, this is your interface for composing an email. So the to box there, there's the to line, so whoever you're emailing will go in there, and you'll notice we've got an option to CC or BCC, so that is copy or blind copy in other words. I'll get to that shortly about which is which. And there is the subject, and down here is the main body of where you type your main email in here. Quite self-explanatory so far, but to give you an idea, Gmail team is where this has come from, so whatever you put in there under recipients will appear there. And here is the subject, so whatever you put in there will appear here. In this case, stay more organized with Gmail's inbox, there's somebody's typed that in there. And then there's a little snippet, as you can see, of the main body of the text. So you can get a brief kind of preview of what's in it and whether it's worth opening up or leave it. And also notice too that these are all in bold. Now if I click on that, it opens up the email and you can see inside the email. And if I go back, then it's not bold anymore. That shows it's been read basically. So that's another quick thing for you there. Right, how do we send an email then? Let's keep on topic. So I'm going to send myself an email, awatraining2019@gmail.com. So notice here, just for purposes of a previous course you might have done, that is the email address, that's your username, that's unique to you, that is. So nobody else in the world will have that on that domain name there. So that is yours. And if somebody else has it or had it, then you wouldn't be able to use it when you signed up. And there is the @ symbol, which makes it the email. And this is the domain name, so Gmail. And that is the domain.com. So this is basically the anatomy of your email. You might have seen that on a course. So what we're going to do there is we're going to put in a test, and I'm just going to say hello. It's Alistair. I'm sure the grammar people will be screaming out that that I've left all sorts of apostrophes out of that, but the main point is to demonstrate it. So if that is all you're sending, then all you need to do is hit send there, or hit Control and Enter on your keyboard. So hold down the Control key, hit Enter, and that will automatically send it as well. I'll show you a couple more things while we're here. What you can also do is format the email. So if we click on the A icon there with the line underneath it, it then produces a small interface where we can do some things. And if we highlight it, and we could do that with the cursor at the end, I'm going to hold down the left hand mouse button and scribe across. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the font to say Comic Sans. Haven't got much of an option. Tell you what I'm going to do. Pardon me. Change that to a capital H. Excuse me. So there it is. I've now changed the font, and I can also now, let's see if I can give this a quick wipe. So it's my scratch pad. I'm not using the mouse as such. I'm cheating a bit. This is where it's kind of handy to have them. There we go. I've got my cursor back. So there we go. So I've put that in there. I've changed the font type, and it's at Comic. And I've used Comic Sans. Then down here I can change the font size. At the moment it's set to normal. I can go for huge, or I can go for large, and so on. And down here, of course, I can also have some saying what the colour is going to be. So I might want to use blue. So there it is. We've used blue. You might want to, and I'm going to hold down the Shift and Home key in this case to re-highlight it back. Instead of using the mouse, I held down the Shift key and pressed Home. And that's done the same job. Now I'm going to come back in and bold it, and I can, so if you bold it, that's what we've got. Shift and Home again, we can underline it, that's what we've got, and we can italicize it. So these are the options open to us. Come down, how are you? And you're thinking, why have you got it underlined? If you go Control A, that selects it all. To hit Control and A to select it all, and then you can go for removing the underline, and there we are. What we can now do as well is, why don't we, because we'll come to these other points in a later video, but at the moment I just want to familiarise you with sending an email and a little like formatting. We can also add an attachment. If we come down here, we can add a file, and there's all sorts of stuff that I've created here. I don't know what. Let's go for budget test. If I click on that, it's a spreadsheet, and I think the limit is 25 megabyte, and that's well below that we can send via Gmail. And I'm going to click on open, and as you can see, that's just uploaded it there. And if I make a mistake, I can just click the X and it takes it straight off. I'm not going to do that. So there it is. Now imagine, for example, I'll click it off. Oh no, have I lost it? Oh dear. Oops, have I lost it? No, you haven't. Don't panic. Come across to the drafts folder, and there it is. And it says draft. And if you double click it, and there it is. And it hasn't been sent. It's just been put in the draft folder, waiting for you to do something with it or not do something with it. It's entirely up to you. I've opened it up, and what I'm going to do now is I am going to send it. So clicking on send, I've sent it to myself, and you can do that. Send emails to yourself because it's a good way of sending any links that might be of use to you going through. And here it is, it's in bold. I double click it, and here it is. It's been sent to me. Hello, it's Alistair. How are you? And down here, as you can see, is the budget spreadsheet. There's a few things I can do with it from here. I can double click it, and it's going to prepare it to open up in Google Documents. Google Documents is a handy thing to use if you don't have Word or Office on your system. This can still open it up and still let you view it without any problems. This is, oh, I'll tell you what it is. Yeah, I set that up with a password, and I'm not so sure if I remember off the top of my head what it was. I did it for a demonstration, but that should open it up. So if I click on the downward arrow, I can download it, and there it is there. And if I double click it, then that will open it up and ask me for a password, which I'm not so sure to say if I remember. And if you've forgotten the password to an Excel document or any kind of document like that, there is not much we can do about it. I'll have a look, because I think network administrators could do things, but from a basic level, it's not possible to break. But anyway, there it is. Now, if you wanted to reply, you can do. So if you click on reply, and again, you've got options from here. So say for argument's sake, if you wanted to utilize either one of these, let's say if we want to CC people, so we can go here, Astro Tiger, there we are, 1986 at gmail.com. That's another one I've got, and that will CC it to there. And if I hit space after that, you then get that grey box with the cross on the right hand side, and all that is if I want to remove that person, I can click that cross or just hit backspace and it's gone again. There we go. So I'm going to put it back in, and that will send it to myself again, and we'll also send it a copy of the same email to whoever owns the mailbox of Astro Tiger, who's aka me. Now, problem is when you do that is when you send the email off, it's not a problem, everybody gets a copy, but everybody can see each other's email addresses. That's the problem. And if it's something whereby you might be doing a newsletter, for example, customers might not necessarily want other customers to know their email addresses. It's data protection, and that's where this comes in handy. Blind copy. So by blind copy, whatever email address you put in there, nobody else can see it. So you'll see it because you send it to yourself as well, but anybody else will not see it. So whatever's in there, so I've got that in, and if I put my other one in here, and so what I've got here is, there's no reason why you'd CC one person, and unless of course what you wanted to do was blind copy everybody else, but everybody else blind copied would need to see another contact that they might need. So you'd maybe CC them so their email address is visible, but blind copy everybody else. So when you send that off, it has the effect that, what will happen is, and I'll send that as it is, and I'll come up here, and there it's appeared. Now we will see the emails there because we have sent it. But if I opened up the mailbox of Astro Tiger 1986 or Alistair.Leith and pull open that email, I will not see the other email that's been blind copied. I'll get the content and I'll get whatever attachments are there, but I will not see the other email. And that way we protect everybody else's identity if that's what we need to do. So that is the basics of composing and sending an email. And of course, there are other things you can do as well. If you come this way, you can click it, and if you come up to this folder, you've got an option to move, and we can create a label. So if I create new, I can put in my emails, and this helps me keep things organized. And of course, automatically it's moved the emails to that folder. And if I want to move that in there too, I so can just simply by coming in and selecting that, and that too has gone in there, as you can see. And it is as simple, and obviously you can delete it just by clicking on the rubbish icon there. There's the trash can, you can delete there, and the email is gone, and it's as simple as that. So that is how Gmail works, and I like it. There's a lot of space, and I'll show you very quickly, because this might be a subject of another tutorial, that there is Google Drive, and that there is where you can have online any scanned copies of your passport, your driving license, your CV, keeping it on there so you can access it whenever you are out and about. So that there is how to use how to set up Gmail, as we did in the first account. First video in here, we've looked at how to use it. There's more to it, but for now, that is basically how to use Gmail to send and receive an email, format an email in a nutshell. Okay, I'd like to thank you for watching this, and I hope it's been informative.